Hey there viewers, welcome back to Supermariodiagnostics. Today we got a fun one. This is post-discovery. I gotta tell you, this was a wild ride. We were working on a 2018 Lexus NX300, and the customer's concern was the check engine light came on. We didn't really feel any symptoms. The customer didn't either. They didn't express any symptoms. And let me explain everything I went through, and to show you something that I never saw coming. It's a test that will fail you. I needed help, so I reached out to a friend of mine, and he helped me along the way. We'll get to that very soon. Stick around. So this NX300 was a lot of fun, and we've got to the answer. But I want to tell you what happened, right? Because it was quite a ride. We'll start with the pre-scan as always, right? So we got the full pre-scan right here. This is the very first scan that we got when we received the vehicle. And we've got a P0171 System 2 lean. We've got P1170 fuel performance port injector pending. We have a stall history, a P1603. And we have a P1604 startability malfunction. Also a P0505 idle control system. So first thing I got approval for was, the first thing that I recommended was a smoke test. And I'm gonna show a video of the smoke test right now. We got two vacuum leaks. One is this oil cap. I'm fully convinced it's this oil cap. I've tried tightening and everything, it doesn't work. It's still leaking. It's a big old leak. And then we have another one over here. We're gonna have to redo that clamp or replace it and recheck. Once we fix those two, we will reset adaptations and recheck. But we may need to do another smoke test afterwards to confirm repairs, and then check the fuel trims before releasing the vehicle. So far, that's all we see with smoke tests. Sometimes the biggest ones are the most obvious ones, but then when we reseal them, the smaller ones start coming out, so we're gonna have to retest afterwards. As you can see in the video, we have two smoke leaks, and this is a learning channel, so we are going to show why we were led there, right? We see a P0171, we see a lean condition. We're gonna use all data by VIN, and we're gonna show what can cause a lean condition, right? So system 2 lean bank 1, right? We got a true trip detection logic. It could be intake system, fuel injector for port. It could be direct, right? This vehicle does have port injection and direct injection at the same time. It could be a mass or airflow sensor, an engine coolant temperature sensor, fuel pressure for the low side or the high side, really. A gas leak from the exhaust system, right? So an exhaust leak can cause this. An open or short in the air fuel ratio sensor circuit, an air fuel ratio sensor, a purge. I forgot what VSV stands for. Guys, this is the first Lexus I really started diagnosing. I started diagnosing in like the last, I don't know how long. I'm in a Euro shop, so I don't even remember what this is. PCV valve and hose, PCV hose connections, wire harness or connector, or the ECM. And I have had an ECM cause me that code, but I went with my first instinct every single time. That's my rule. Every single time I have a trim code, I am doing a smoke test. I don't care if it's rich or lean, right? This vehicle has a mass airflow and a MAP sensor, so I don't know which strategy it's using. It could be using mass airflow or it could be using the speed density. So I don't really care. At that point, I am doing a smoke test first things first. So that's why I went ahead and did the smoke test. So I was like, oh, great. In and out, cars in and out. I don't even need to pick up the camera on this one. This is in and out, right? Wrong. I fixed the leaks and did another smoke test, right? Because I like to confirm my repair before I release the vehicle. So I did another smoke test, and this is what I got. So after repairs, we still have a lean condition, and we're doing another smoke test. You can see the smoke there, right? Everything behaves just like a vacuum leak, but we got no smoke anywhere anymore. We got the new oil cap, we got the clamp on there, we've got the purge valve disconnected. I got no smoke on the hose there. No smoke to be seen in any of these places. So we're gonna keep testing. As you can see, we have no smoke at all coming out of anywhere. And the reason why I went to the smoke test was because I had live data, and it showed 39% fuel trims on the long term, which corrected with acceleration. So that is usually indicative of a vacuum leak or a mass airflow sensor issue. And here's a video of that data that I captured for the customer, because we do document this stuff and give it to the customer. So here's a video of the data that we received and our justification for doing a smoke test. So the vehicle has a check engine light on, no other symptoms, and we do see good 60 psi on the low side and 500-ish psi on the high side, but we have lean fuel trims, and when I accelerate it slightly, it corrects. So this tells me that we may have an issue with either a vacuum leak or a mass airflow type sensor issue. We're gonna have to do a smoke test to start and then go from there. So that's why we went ahead and did a smoke test. We had our justification, we had fuel data, we had data on the fuel trims to show that we had reason to believe that there was a vacuum leak. And we found the vacuum leaks, we fixed them, we did the smoke test once again, and there was no smoke to be seen, and that's where we are now. So, as you can imagine, the lean condition did not go away. I reset the relearned value, or the learned values, and the fuel trims went right back to exactly where it was. And that's where it all went downhill. Now, being as I'm not really too versed in Toyota or Lexus anymore, I feel like I'm losing so much. I fell behind. I'll be the first one to tell you, I fell behind on those. Seeing Euros constantly kind of changes your pace, right? So kudos to you guys who are staying on top of your stuff. But look at the service information for P0171. I did keep this in the back of my mind. There's a bulletin, right? There's a bulletin here. And when we click on that, it shows a loss of fuel pressure. It shows a P0171, and it says a hard start and or, right? We didn't have any symptoms. We did have the P0171, but we did not have the P0087. And it does, to their credit, it does show that you may have a positive fuel trims, including a no pressure condition, verified by a pressure gauge. So I like that they include testing in there. So there was that, right? So I did take a look at fuel pressure while we were looking at our fuel trims. So that's why that data was there. But at this point, we have nothing. The fuel trims are just in a blink of an eye going from zero, right? Like when you reset the learned values, it goes from 0 to a blink of an eye, 39%. And that was just wild to me, because the only time I seen something like that was on a Volkswagen, and it ended up being the engine computer. So what did I do? Got onto GTS and updated the software on the thing. I updated the software on the engine computer just as just like, you know, just because I've seen so many issues lately with software, I was just throwing my Euro mindset onto it, and I yeeted a software update to it. No change, right? They got new software, but no change in the condition. We still have a sky high lean condition, which corrects with acceleration. Still indicative of a vacuum leak or mass airflow sensor issue, in my mind, right? So what did I do next? I disconnected the mass airflow sensor. And we still had the same exact condition. And this vehicle does have map sensors as well. Well, not really a map sensor per se. They call it a boost sensor, right? They use 2 boost sensors. So it's kind of telling me, like, what is going on at this point. Like, I'm at this point, I'm freaking out. I'm just like, yo, I got other things to do. This was supposed to be in and out vacuum leak. Bam, bam. Thank you, Sam. Get out of here. You know, like it was supposed to be in and out, and it wasn't. So I reached out to a friend of mine. I don't know if he wants me to mention him. I'm gonna have to send him a text real quick. But he was very helpful, and he told me about certain tests that I could do, like checking to see which, you know, we didn't have any misfires, but checking to see if it was an issue with the port injection versus the direct injection. So he guided me through these tests and did them in front of me and showed me well, you know, TechStream, when you have an issue, with getting that test to run, you know, you could do a little something, you bring it up to 2,000 RPMs, and it'll let you do it. So without him telling me that, I would have never known that, to be honest with you. So he's here helping me, and he saw something. He saw something that stood out to him. So I pulled up a screenshot of what was going on, and as you can see, we have graphed our air fuel sensor voltage, our bank 1 sensor 1. It is a wideband sensor. And we are pegged at 4.463, right? And down here you can see that he enriched the mixture. He was assisting me on this one, and I was like, I never even tried this test before. I never even worked on a Lexus or Toyota that had both of these injection systems at the same time, so it kind of threw me off. So I'm like, hey man, you know, it's all yours. See what you can see that I can't see, you know, because I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing the problem here. And sure enough, he pegged it rich, and it would not bias back to 3.3 volts as it was supposed to. So big red flag right there. Air fuel ratio sensor is no good. It is not coming down whatsoever, right? So we install a air fuel ratio sensor, a factory one, and sure enough, our voltage comes back down to 3.3 after we replace the air fuel ratio sensor. It does what it's supposed to do after the fuel trim correction, which is good. But what's not good is that it's still running lean. So we fixed a damaged O2 sensor, but that was a symptom. That was not the root cause. And I am fully convinced that even though we would fix the root cause, we would still end up needing a sensor anyway. But at this point, we're still running lean. So we get back onto it, and sure enough, now that we have trustworthy upstream oxygen sensor data, we can now use that to look at the downstream one, right? Because the downstream sensor could not be reliably condemned prior to replacing the upstream sensor, because the downstream sensor's behavior is interpreted in relation to the data that is given by the upstream sensor. So in this case, the upstream wideband sensor was internally faulty, and we've proven it. I'm going to go ahead and show the pictures of before and after. We do show an enriched condition, and it doesn't correct back down to, I'm sorry, it corrects, but then it doesn't bias back down to 3.3 volts as it should, whereas the new one does come back down to 3.3 volts. So the upstream sensor was providing incorrect feedback, and it was a false, in my mind, it was a false lean condition. I'm like, all right, we found it. We found the vacuum leaks. We found the bad sensor. This is a false lean condition because of a sensor that does not correct itself. We're good. We're golden here, right? We're done. But we can't condemn a downstream sensor without reliable information from the upstream. So we are going step by step here. All of this was explained to the customer. The customer is actually very, very understanding, and you know, part of that is documentation. So I, you know, not to toot my own horn, but like, I can't stress enough the importance of documentation. Though I expressed that to the customer, that everything I did step by step was listed in the inspection of the RO, our digital vehicle inspection. So that is why I'm able to even recite every single thing that I did, because I'm literally reading here everything that I did to it. I don't have to, you know, start trying to remember everything that I did, right? So I went systemically, you know, in a process, right? So now that we have good upstream data, upstream oxygen sensor data, the downstream was a problem. So as you can see in the picture here, I revved up the engine to about 4,000 RPMs, and we can see that the the upstream sensor reacts rich first and then goes lean when I let go of the throttle. And the oxygen sensor has a minimum of 0 volts and a maximum of 0.135. So it was stuck lean. It was just not moving from, it was not responding to an enrichment. So our downstream sensor was no good. And after replacing it, I'm going to show you another picture. We're going to show you the RPM go up to about 1500 RPM, and our sensor goes from 0 all the way to a full 1 volt. So that is responsive of the enrichment during acceleration. So our downstream sensor is now replaced and reporting correctly, and we're still lean at idle. Yes, we're still lean at idle. So at this point, I'm just like, this is weird. I get a fuel sample. I still have it here. This is my fuel sample, right? That's our fuel sample. We got our oxygen sensor just waiting there too. We've got our brand new O2 sensor box. That's the old one actually. I've got other stuff there, right? So I'm freaking out. I'm getting a fuel sample. I'm looking at my fuel pressure was good. We already confirmed that. First thing we confirmed that. I'm freaking out at this point. I checked the PCV valve. You know, my guy told me he hadn't seen a PCV valve go bad, but you know what? I disconnected it, moved it around. It moved, and it does block one direction, and it does act like a check valve when you test it. We switched between direct injection and port injection. There was no change. We looked at all the temperature sensors. When it was cold, everything was cold and everything was good. They were all matching. When it was heating up as it should, and it was accurate as well. The coolant temp sensor and the pressure sensors were at atmospheric at idle. I disconnected the mass airflow sensor. Still no change. I think I already mentioned that, but I could be wrong. I disconnected the mass airflow sensor to put it into a speed density and no change. So at that point, I'm kind of thinking dirty throttle body, but it's underneath where the intercooler is at. It's not that easy to get to. We did the ECM calibration. We checked the fuel quality. The fuel quality looks good. There's no compression issues. There's no misfires. There's no secondary air injection on this vehicle. I actually smoke tested the cold, cold. And the first thing in the morning, I smoke tested the exhaust system just in case there was an exhaust leak, and there was not. If you do it with a hot engine, it might just eat all your smoke up. That lit up cat might just eat up all your smoke, so you might not even see smoke anyway. So if you're gonna do that, do it with a cold engine. And at this point, I'm just like, I'm about to think Euro style. This is an engine computer. Just like that Volkswagen that I had. And I was so close to doing it. I was just about to do it. I reached out to my guy one more time. I told him all my tests. I told him all my tests. And I thank God for people who are willing to help, man. I'm telling you, it's awesome. It's amazing. He's like, man, I know you smoke tested it with the purge valve out, but do me a favor, humor me, and run it. He was about to. He told me though at first, maybe you want to put fresh gas on there, but I'm like, fresh gas. I mean, that would probably be across all fuel trims, right? All fuel trim conditions, all RPMs. But at this point, these cars, I don't know what strategy it has. All right, if it needs new fuel, we'll do that. But we didn't get there. We almost did. And he tells me, just humor me, and do the following. You know what? I'll just do it with you guys. Let me start the car and do this whole thing all in one shot, right? He's like, I know you smoke tested it. You guys saw the video. I pulled the dipstick, showed that there's smoke, put the dipstick back. There's no more smoke anywhere. You guys are gonna laugh at me on this one, but you know what? I think we can all learn how certain tests can fool you. So here we have it. We'll let it come down a bit, actually. Let it warm up a little. Boom, blink of an eye, 27%. Right? 27% at idle. And I'm just gonna do something real quick. I got my tool here, my special tool, right? And this is the purge line. And I can hear an idle change. Check that out. That car is fixed. If you have a negative short term and a positive long term, you are pretty much fixed. You give it enough time and it will just go right. It will even out on you. I'll just leave it there a bit. I may not have clamped it completely, but we'll see. It's going rich, it's correcting itself, it's bringing it back down, and the car is fixed. So what did the car need? A purge valve. Even though I smoke tested it, and no smoke came out. Right? I'm here thinking like, man, what kind of technician am I? I can't figure this out. But you know what? It just goes to show that smoke tests can fail you. And that's a prime example right there. A smoke test can fail you. I don't know if the smoke test is closing up the purge valve or what. Look, I released the clamp and we're back up to 25%. I don't know if the smoke test is closing up that purge valve or not, but what I can tell you was that that was fun. I mean, I tested everything. I even took off the diverter valve to check that, right? To check that. My guy's like, you know, I've never really seen a bad diverter valve. I'm like, hey, you know what? I see them all the time on the Euros, right? You get a blown diaphragm or whatever, and sure enough, the diverter valve was fine. But I thought I'd share this one. You guys could learn from my mistakes. I know there's gonna be some super tech out there who's gonna be like, that's the first thing you should have checked. Except I did. I smoke tested it, right? So this just goes to show, go grab a clamp, go pinch off some hoses. Oh man, simplicity, right? Simplicity. I had a teacher back in the day who used to tell me simplicity is the height of excellence. And he could not be more right. He could not be more right. It was nuts. It was a wild ride. And you know what? I'm glad people are there, able to help, willing to help. I'm grateful for understanding customers, people who can take your word at things and tell you, look, this is what we're doing. We're going, you know, step by step. Even if we were to fix the purge valve, that car would have been back with an oxygen sensor problem, eventually a downstream oxygen sensor problem. You know, am I justifying my path? Yes. I have all the evidence that I need. I have every single piece of evidence that I need to justify everything that I did. In the end of the day, did it need the oil cap? Did it need the clamp on that breather hose? Did it need the oxygen sensor? Did it need the downstream sensor? Did it need the purge valve? Yes, absolutely, 100%. And I can back it up. So, but it just to find the root cause was a lot of fun because I really trusted that smoke test way too much. So huge thanks to Steve Anderson for taking the time to get me up to speed, to walk me through these new systems that I'm not really familiar with, and for guiding me through this process. Huge thanks to you, man. If you're watching, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to help a brother out, man. Really, I do. But yeah, multiple failures do exist, right? If you're the general public, you've miraculously made it this long, multiple failures do exist, and a smoke test can fail you. So even if you buy a $1,200 smoker, doesn't mean you're gonna have 100% accuracy with with your testing. It bit me, but hopefully it won't bite you when it comes into your bay, because you watched the video and you cared enough to retain that information. So, all right, before we wrap this video up, we've got the new part in, new purge valve, and we're gonna do the learning value reset, and it is the first start of the morning. We're gonna go to make sure our codes aren't there. We got no codes. Let's go ahead and start it up. And we're gonna let it get its idle going. We're gonna grab the fuel trims just to confirm that the repairs are done. Nice. On these ones, if I'm not mistaken, anything over 25% would be a problem, not 12.5 like we're used to. But it looks like we are back in business, because this would have gone to like completely lean by now. Definitely. So that being said, I thank you all for taking the time to watch. It was a fun ride, and it was a learning experience for me as well, and I hope it was for you as well. The smoke test can seal the purge valve, right? The purge valve is going through vacuum, and that is not the same condition in which we're testing. So dynamic testing for the win on this one. For what it's worth. Appreciate you all taking the time to watch, yeah, let's grow together, let's keep it going, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Hit like if you like what you see. Maybe this video could start getting out there a little more if you guys hit those like buttons. Hit subscribe, consider subscribing, leave a comment. I'm pretty sure I left something out, but this one's fixed, and we are going to release it to the customer with zero expectation of a comeback. I'm fully convinced that if we would have done anything less than what we did already, it would have been a comeback. So that's not good. Nobody wants that. Yeah, well, I'll leave it at that. I think you guys heard enough from me. I'll catch you guys on the next one. God bless you. Take care.